What's good, y'all? I hope y'all having a good day. Today we got how gooning affects your brain. Generally, if you're watching them type of videos, if you know what I mean, them videos, on the hub or anything like that, generally you gotta stop. Take it from me. It affects your brain in so many ways that you don't even know. It makes you have more anxiety. It makes you nervous to talk to people. It makes you give you a little bit of depression in a sense. It just affects you in ways that you don't even see at times. It makes you a user at times. It makes you objectify women in the sense of, oh, how can I use them to gain what I want in a full sense? Like, it's just not healthy at all. I'm telling you. I know it's not the same for everybody, but I'm telling you, it's just not healthy at all. Genuinely. How I would say, like, in a full sense, watching videos like that, when I mean it doesn't help you build good relationships, I mean in the senses of like you not wanting to deal with people because it's like, yeah, you can just only, know how to please yourself and not like, you don't seek any type of other type of affection from people or love in a full sense with people. And it can breed a lot of things. Like, I want to get to this article that I have actually as well, because it'll kind of go more into detail of what I'm talking about in a sense. But yeah, without further ado though, I'm excited to see what he talks about in this. But yeah, because it just, bro, generally we're in an era where social media and all this stuff is like heavily pushed with just sexual content, OnlyFans, just all this stuff is crazy. Cause it's so, how I would say, like, you don't even know, how do I say, like, when you slip into a video of like a woman working at the gym with really tight clothes on, it might make you affect you like, boom, ooh, let me go to the videos now on the hub or something like that, because I got that urge now, or anything like that. Now you're sitting here on your phone just going crazy on yourself, like, bro, it's not good. But yeah though, let's get into this video though. I'm really interested to see how this goes. And this is by Noah Dennis, by the way, to let y'all know. Shout out him.
The gooning phenomenon is affecting many guys in your brain in unimaginable ways. And like the studies show, about 92% of men self-pleasure anywhere between once a week to several times per day. So with the brain rot term / meme of gooning spreading rapidly, you could only imagine or speculate how often they might do this. By the way, in case you didn't know, gooning is a form of masturbation where you do things like edge to prolong orgasm or having no orgasm at all. The word in itself is meme-ish, and nobody really talks about this seriously for obvious reasons. It's taboo, but that's where
is that real?
For example, I used to be a masterclass prestigious gooner before gooning was a popular term, always trying to find new and intricate ways to prolong orgasms due to how deep I was in the porno and masturbation rabbit hole. And not gonna lie, it really made me a lonely incel-like goblin who felt less incentivized to go out and make real, genuine romantic connections with people in real life. And that's not even
not even gonna hold you. It really does do that. Like, genuinely, like, bro, it'd be like times I'll be once a day, probably 2 times a day, maybe 3 if I'm bored. Like, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's like when you're bored in a full sense, it does get a little bit worse in a sense. It's bad to say it as it is. It's just the honest truth. Like, I can't even hold y'all with that. That's why I say you really gotta not indulge yourself into it so deeply, because it's very troublesome. Let me say that.
Scratching the surface of the negative effects it had on my social life, my body, but especially my brain and psyche. And just like any other addiction, if you're not aware of potential drawbacks, you will suffer the consequences. So this is why you need to understand the dangerous effects gooning has on your brain. Okay, so I want to preface something real quick by telling you guys I'm not no psychologist, gynecologist, or anything that ends in gist. But I just did some research you guys will need to know, because I see this as a potential problem for both genders, men and women alike, but mostly guys since they're the main consumers of sexual content. So gooning is supposed to give you pure sexual ecstasy, which could only be achieved through the act of edging. And for those of you who don't know what edging is, essentially it's when you're stroking or flicking around your genitalia. You do this to the point to where when you feel like you're about to reach your climax, you stop and hold it, so that way when you're fully ready to combust, your orgasm will be much more powerful. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure if it's placebo or if it's a fact in and of itself, but the actual fact is, if you keep trying to reach new stimulating heights of orgasm, then that insinuates that you have an addiction, because it's simply just dopamine overload. And I'm not gonna go into detail about what dopamine is. At this point, most of you guys should already know what it is.
I don't think most people go out their way to, like, what do they say, edge or anything like that, which is crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. That's a new term that's kind of been popular recently, because I ain't never fully heard of edge until like this year and a little bit of last year, if that makes sense. It's kind of like late last year. So, but But edging, yeah, nah, that shouldn't be doing that at all. That's just like, that's you definitely just gooning at that point. That's a full blown goon. This ain't a video just to be criticizing people, but it's just like being honest. Like, it's just the truth. It's really not healthy for nobody. Just telling you
what it is and its purposes and what it does. But I'm gonna just give you a quick rundown of how dopamine plays a role when you're gooning or masturbating, right? So basically when you're masturbating, it triggers the release of dopamine, which you guys should already know is the feel-good neurotransmitter in our brains, of course. And when you keep doing this in excessive sessions, the brain becomes flooded with dopamine, leading to intense pleasure. And so over time, when you keep doing this, the brain adapts, requiring more stimulation for the same level of satisfaction, and also potentially reducing sensitivity to everyday pleasures. And this is part of why I'm so heavily against consuming sexually explicit content. And it generally pisses me off when I see guys try to reach this high so badly to the point to where they're using their own hard-earned money to send to these degenerate ass OF girls or models or whatever you guys want to call them, who also don't know or care about them, and also allowing yourself to be exploited for a high that's never fully gonna satisfy you and is gonna leave you numb and hollow. Also, bro, no bullshit.
bro, not even gonna hold y'all. He right, bro. If y'all sending money to any OF females just to gain more of a sexual pleasure in this full sense, it's sick, bro. That's sick. Like, you can be using that money for something more useful in a sense, like bettering your education, something like that, something very much more useful. And just gooning and all that extra stuff, it wastes your time. You will spend probably 5 minutes finding the video. Okay, what I'm finna watch. Wait until you find a video. Then you're in the acts of doing it. And then it's like wasted probably like 5 to 10 minutes. How much? 5, 10, 20, like every time you need. You know what I mean? And then it's just like after that, then clean up. More time wasted when you could have been doing something more productive. You could have been out here. Say you want to be a basketball player. You could have been outside shooting hoops, learning dribbles, watching YouTube videos on how to dribble or stuff like that. Freaking, if you want to be a barber, watching YouTube videos on how to barber, cutting your own hair, doing something more productive with your time, man. It's just definitely just a time waster, just being honest.
I can't even get mad at these sex workers for doing that. And yes, I just call them sex workers because that's what they do. I can't even get mad at them for it because guys are allowing this shit to happen. It's like the cliche saying that I usually like to say, you are what you allow. And I don't say this to be insensitive or diminish how bad of an addiction this is for guys, like consuming porn and masturbation or gooning in this case, and not acknowledge how bad men's mental health has gotten. But it genuinely surprises me how much guys won't prioritize building a sustainable, healthy system that's out there for free to aid in improving their mental health to stay away from this garbage. So bro, if you experience things such as anxiety, guilt, shame, depression in some cases, it's because you have dedicated an insane amount of time rewiring your brain to chase after artificial stimulus rather than, you know, seeking it out from real life goals and human connections. And I know I'm gonna get some backlash from some morons in the comments, but let me just use video game addiction as an example. And yes, video game addiction does exist. We can acknowledge this. And before I continue on my next point, I want to make something extremely clear that one, I'm not against video games. I sometimes play it on my free time from time to time. And I'm also not against the developers for developing such addictive games. They're smart, and I'll tell you why they're smart. But what I am against is pouring unhealthy amounts of hours into it and that taking over your real life. And again, the developers are not bad guys for this, but they know what they're doing because they purposely make these games addictive to mirror real life in terms of chasing goals, since they know from a biological standpoint, human beings crave development, growth, and genuine real life human connection. Like, bro, look here. Numerous studies have shown that pursuing some sort of goal or real life connection greatly increases satisfaction and happiness. We as human beings crave those things.
Bro, for real. We do as people, like, it is true that we crave development and anything like that. Like, we always trying to achieve something new, greater, accomplish something more meaningful in life in a full sense. Like, depending on what it is, it's just, that's just how we are. Whether it's in a video game, you're trying to beat the boss, you're trying to gain every achievement in the video game. It's just, you feel a sense of like accomplishment. It's a dopamine, right? That's a dopamine right there, is accomplishing something that you want to do. Instead of putting that into real life things that really can benefit you in your real life aspect, we put it into video games. You might put it into, I don't freaking know, shoot, eating, who knows, something that's not worth your time. That's why I say do things in moderations. It's okay to play video games. It's just not okay to be doing it for hours. 3, you pushing it. 2, it's okay, but come on now, you got something better you could be doing though too. Just saying. Now, if you're not streaming video games, making money from what you wanting to do in your life and having fun and still making money, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I say. I tell everybody, bro, go stream, go do something productive that will benefit your life in the long run. Just honesty.
But without them, we're left to our vices in a life of misery that awaits us, which should be common sense. When you do unnatural things to the point to where it becomes a hobby and takes away from other areas of your life, you will suffer the consequences from said choices, making those habits far more difficult to break because what you have done is create a dependency on it, which also leads me to the next point. Because in some warped, fucked up way, it makes you attached to it in order to get your needs met, but in an artificial sense, rather than through real, healthy methods or through other human beings, if said needs are not met in a timely fashion from real life things. And this is part of the reason why people use things like drugs, alcohol, or any type of hedonistic things that gets them or helps them get through the day, which indicates that there's a problem going on mentally that they're running away from, but which most of the time they'll never tell you or say what it is and always cope and say it's for X reason or Y reason. But bro, the truth hurts. But one thing I refuse to do time and time again is coddle people and play into delusions and tell them that these things are okay just to not hurt their feelings, when in reality it's destroying them mentally and physically. And even though gooning,
I ain't gonna hold y'all, bro. It's so true. Gooning and watching them types of videos, bro, even when you in, how do I say this, connection with the opposite gender, right? It still makes you like, in a sense of, it's kind of like if you're watching it while you're in a relationship or doing things with somebody, it does kind of make you think about that 24/7. Even when you're trying to go to, like, you know, just when you trying to like fall asleep with that person, just in the full sense, like just doing something regular or watching a movie or anything like that. It just like your brain is just when's it gonna happen? I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to get my rocks off any type of way every single time. Like any certain touch, like you're like, I gotta have it. I want it. It's like your brain is yelling at you at that point, and it's sick. It's just fully sick. That's why you gotta cleanse yourself of this stuff and really throw it away.
It's seen as like a funny haha meme. It should also be taken seriously and talked about even in other aspects such as relationships and intimacy. Because the more and more you keep trying to reach for higher levels of sexual satisfaction through contrived ways, heavy emphasis on contrived ways, by the time you actually have sex with someone, it won't be as good and it's gonna ruin your relationships, causing things like erectile dysfunction due to things like the death grip and far less sexual satisfaction with your partner.
You don't know what a death grip y'all don't know what a death grip is? It's when you choke your chicken a little too hard when you're doing it, and you dang near don't get the same pleasure from when you're actually having sex, having the do, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it just isn't, it's not gonna feel the same because it's more looser of a grip, if that makes any sense. So it's like you're used to, like, how do I say, you're used to like squeezing like this, but it's really like this, like, how do I say, like this, if that makes any sense. So it's like, cool.
It's because you become numb to sexual cues. So like, for example, you guys notice like when you bust a nut, you feel very drowsy and don't want to necessarily do anything. That's no good, because you and I both know that we have work to do. We don't deserve to rest just yet. I'm not saying this in some hustle culture shit sense in terms of like telling you to grind 24/7. That's not sustainable. I'm telling you that you're not gonna get anywhere from busting nuts or prolonging your nut period, especially from things like gooning. And low-key, what I'm about to say next is gonna be something that resonates with you, right? What's happening is that your minuscule efforts from gooning are going into these OF models or sex workers' pockets and fueling their dreams instead of your own. So for those of you guys who are paying for OF, stop it. Like, why would you want to be someone's pawn that helps fuel their dreams instead of your own? Gooning in and of itself is an extreme sexual thing to do, in my opinion, that does more harm than good. And the thing is,
it's just like, bro, you get nothing out of it at all. Like, you don't get nothing out of it. You learn helping somebody gain money by their sexual actions, and you're just over here throwing money their way, even unintentionally at times, just giving them views and all that extra stuff. It's like, stop giving them money and do something better with your life, that you could be gaining money, a substantial amount of money for your family, for anything. Like, but I digress.
Is you guys and girls included, but I'm mostly talking to guys, but girls can relate to this too. You guys need to understand that there's immense power inside you that lays dormant, that's waiting for you to tap into it in order to take control over your life. And again, gooning is not going to help you get there unless you have other goals in mind. You know what I'm saying? But I assume if you're watching this, you want to stop. You know what I'm saying? Or you should at least have no interest in doing so. But essentially, the point of this video is to just make yourself proud enough to refrain from hyper stimulation, like things like gooning, porn, junk food, video games in excessive amounts. I want to clarify that. And do this to the point to where on your leisure time or on your free time, you make something good of yourself, or you find out what your purpose is. Like, for example, I'll tell you right now, your purpose is just something that just takes most of your time that you can't seem to want to get away from. So for example, building this YouTube YouTube channel is my purpose. Find something like that for yourself. What might be a purpose for me will be different for you. We all serve different purposes, right? Just do something good for yourself to just further help you become a more decent, well-functioning, healthy human being with good things going on all around your life. It's really that simple. But yeah,
it really is. Like, you just got to take the time out and really figure out what you want to do and what you want to become in life, and not waste your time doing them type of activities, because they just kill time. They're the definition of time wasters, like full blown, like killing your time when you could be progressing in life, and you're just really taking inches and inches and inches off your life, like time and time and time off your life, because you're wasting your time. But hey, I do want to get into this article though as well, so we can kind of just go step by step and kind of just the more effects it has on your brain mentally, socially, and a lot of extra stuff with Gooning. So boom, this is by fightingthenewdrug.org. 10 negative effects porn or on your brain, body, relationships, and society. Crazy. Okay, and then short answer is yes, and the longer answer requires a lot of research and explaining decades of studies. Keep in mind that our organization for fighting the new drug is a non-religious and non-legislative nonprofit, so we are not here to talk about anything is bad, not even people who watch porn. Let's simply look at the 10 of the many distinct ways that porn can impact your consumers, relationships, and society. So 1, porn can negatively affect relationships, impact relationships. According to a study that tracked couples over the time, porn consumption was the second strongest indicator that a relationship would suffer. Plus, research consistently shows that porn consumers are twice as likely to later report experiencing a divorce or breakup. Even after controlling for marital happiness, sexual satisfaction, and other relevant factors, there is no substitute for real connection, and porn is not worth risking. Basically, porn, while inside of a relationship, is really going to affect your relationship really badly in some ways, whether it can be in a jealous sense, in a sense of your partner catching watching them videos and like, dang, like, okay, am I not good enough or anything like that? Or they seeing what you're watching and it's like, oh, I don't look nothing like that person or anything like that. It can cause jealousy. Sexual satisfaction, you have this unrealistic mindset of sex, and now it's like, oh, it's supposed to be like this, it's supposed to be like this, which really it's not even supposed to be like that. They're exaggerating, they're overdoing it in them videos, and you're thinking it's supposed to be like that when it's not. You're feeling, oh, why is it not like this? Why is it not like this? Then you're searching for other people to accomplish them goals that you feel like you have in a sexual sense. Sad. Porn can become habit forming. Many porn consumers are surprised to find that porn can be incredibly difficult to quit. I'm telling you, it's one of the most difficult things to quit at times, because it's very addictive. Once you keep doing it day in and day out, you see it everywhere on your social media feeds, Instagram, Twitter, well, let me say X, TikTok as well. Like, it's just pushed in a lot of places, which is really sad. Genuinely. Porn can fuel violence and abuse. So we know that porn glorifies violence, but research also indicates that porn sexually violent narratives can bleed into consumers' attitudes and behaviors. In fact, research indicates that porn consumers are more likely to sexually objectify and dehumanize others, more likely to experience an intent to rape, less likely to intervene during a sexual assault, more likely to victim blame survivors of sexual assault, more likely to support violence against women, more likely to forge sex without consent, and more likely to commit actual acts of sexual violence. Porn, it can do these things in a sense of if you're watching a video on, oh, stepmother sleeping or anything like that, somebody could take that in their brain like, oh, it's okay in this video, why can't I do that in real life? And not knowing how to distinguish of, hey, not in this moment type spiels. Like, this is not how reality works or is supposed to work. This is acting in a full sense, and people don't know that at times, and it's very sad. Porn perpetuates racism and toxic stereotypes. For an industry that often culturally throughout as being aligned with the LGBTQ plus community, the mainstream porn industry depiction of the LGBTQ plus individually in relationships suggests that they are less interested in accurate representation and more interested in profiting at the expenses of LGBTQ people. Porn fetishizes sexual orientation or gender identity, using degrading terms to describe LGBTQ people, and misrepresents through their harmful and degrading stereotypes. Likewise, stereotypes are used in content with Black performers and promote the idea that multicultural, multiracial relationships are taboo or fetishized. Porn often fetishizes many different races and ethnicities. I would say definitely Black and white relationships, interracial, it is fetishized in porn, and really like in the senses of it does make it taboo in a sense and not making it the norm, and it's really sad. It's just generally fetish towards it, which is really disgusting. It doesn't take long to stumble upon any number of racist titles that promote offensive and unwarranted racial stereotypes about Black women regarding to gonzo porn, which are low budget films with little glamour. Black women most often play the role of prostitutes in a video entitled Ebony Sex Workers and Black Girls Working the Streets. That's sick. That's sick. Just putting a bad stereotype on Black women in a sense, and it's just degrading them for no type of reason. Like, that's weird. 5. Porn harms sexual function and makes people more sexually illiterate. Interesting enough, porn often leads to less sex and less satisfying sex. Ooh, crazy. Research routinely shows that compulsive pornography consumption is associated with sexual dysfunction for both men and women, difficulties with arousal and sexual performance, and decreased sexual satisfaction. So it's like this thing that we're giving our time to, it's destroying us in the long run in a full sense, which is see as an issue. Like, generally, it's just a full-blown issue right here, as you can tell. Porn can change a consumer's brain. Did you know that thanks to a process called neuroplasticity, I think I'm saying that right, our brains are constantly changing. When we engage in an activity, particularly a pleasurable activity, and particularly if it involves repetition and intense focus, our brains alter themselves so that they'll be better and more efficient at doing that activity the next time. But the brain process can also be overwhelmed by what referred to as a supernormal stimulus, an exaggerated form of what's normal. Pornography, for example, can take our brain's natural stimuli, our desires for intimacy and connection, and give us more quantity, more exaggerated, and more supernormal versions of that desire. Through the neuroplastic process, porn can change what we perceive as normal and warp what we find exciting, and we make real intense intimacy seem like less interesting by comparison. So what is basically saying is that kind of we contort, or our brain kind of just like the things that are supposed to be normal in our life, and I say like in a normal intimate setting, it kind of makes it seem less interesting, like compared to an experience inside of a video, right? It's like, oh, it's like this in this video, but it's not like this in real life, and your brain really can't tell the difference, or if that makes any sense. And it's like, oh, it's supposed to be like this video that I'm seeing on here, and how their relationship is, or how intimacy is supposed to go, or you know what I mean, or how it's supposed to start up. So it's like, sheesh, porn can normalize abuse. According to a study that analyzed porn titles alone, 1 out of every 8 titles suggested to first-time users on porn sites described as acts of sexual violence. Research also suggests that as few as 1 in 3 and as many as 9 in 10 porn scenes contain physical violence or aggression. Even more concerning is that 95% of the time, the targets of violence and aggression in porn appear to respond either neutrally or with pleasure. So it's just saying that it can normalize abuse in a sense in certain videos or anything like that, where they're slapping, hitting, punching, anything like that. And it's kind of, in a sense, normalizing it in a full sense, which is really sad. And it shouldn't even be like this, but hey. Porn can fuel mental health issues. A number of peer-reviewed studies have found a link between pornography consumption and mental health outcomes like depression, anxiety, loneliness, lower satisfaction, and poor self-esteem and overall mental health. These studies have found that these links are particularly strong when pornography is consumed to try to escape negative emotions, and also when pornography consumption becomes heavy and compulsive. Quitting porn can help interrupt the unhealthy cycle of escapism and mental health issues. If kind of in the sense of, if you're using it to mask something else that's actually going on in your life, whether it's the sense of loneliness, and you do that to have a sense of connection, that's sad. If you're using it for depression, or you're having anxiety in a moment, you're like, ugh, and you do that to release yourself for that moment by stimulating yourself, bad, because it's like you're not fixing the root issue, you're just putting a band-aid over a bullet hole wound, if that makes any sense. And it's like, let's actually get to the real problem first, then try to fix everything else later, instead of just covering up. But yeah, porn companies profit from non-consensual content. I actually want to get into this because it's actually crazy that it was on the news or something like that, or a news article, or I forgot. It might have been an Instagram article as well, but uh the hub.com, if y'all know what I'm talking about, pornhub.com, it actually was like they changed their rules in the senses of you have to be a certain age to watch it, and two, you have to have a verified account or something like that for you to even post content, because they were not sure if anything was actually consensual in them videos, and if they were actually rape in a full sense, which is, it's terrible in its full sense, because you could have actually been reacting or watching somebody get assaulted and not even know it, which is terrible. Fuels sex trafficking. Sex trafficking shares a variety of symbiotic connections to pornography. Even in the production of mainstream porn, sex trafficking can still occur, and it happens more often than people think. Trafficking is legally defined as a situation in which a commercial sex act is induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person induced to perform such act has not attained 18 years of age. Manipulation and coercion are unfortunately common in the porn industry, which legally qualifies as sex trafficking. Kind of in the sense of somebody uploading or posting a video and that person is actually underage in the video and not actually the legal age to even be doing them acts on camera. So it's like the non-consent, it's consensual, but it's still you're underage to even, for it to even be consensual in a sense, which is crazy. But yeah, this was an interesting video to watch and an interesting article to read to y'all. If y'all want the link to this article, I'm gonna link it down below so you can read it for yourselves. But if y'all watching the video, just put it down. Like, really, I know you might fall short sometimes, but really, it's just try again, and stop, because it's just gonna hurt you in the long run if you keep doing it consistently. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure y'all stay tuned for more videos I got. Make sure I hit that subscribe button, that like button if y'all enjoyed this video. I love y'all, and I'll see you later. Deuces.